Hi, welcome to VNN. Achēv is one of the largest providers of employment, newcomers, language and youth services in the Greater Toronto area. The organization is now launching a new service offering dedicated special services to women who face barriers in securing employment and other difficulties. Achēv, Senior Vice President of Strategic Partnerships and External Relations, Moya, MacKinnon, is with us today to tell us about creating sort of new pathways to employment to help new immigrant women or a woman of color succeed in the workplace. Welcome to VNN, Moya.
Thank you so much, Bala, for inviting me today, and I'm excited to update you and your viewers and followers on our women's services pillar that we just launched last week.
I mean, going ahead, I mean, what are the challenges that women really face in the workplace and that you have documented?
Yeah, you know, it's very varied, Bala. The pandemic and the recovery from the pandemic has been especially hard on women, and especially racialized and newcomer women. They're facing many different barriers to employment. So many women had to leave the workforce in order to look after their children who were doing virtual schooling, just even settling and finding employment. They had to put sometimes their careers on hold in order to support their families and what they're trying to manage during the pandemic. So post-pandemic, now where women are faced with other issues that they're struggling with, whether it's transportation access to child-minding services or elder care services. In some cases, women's skills are more out of date, and they need some very personalized supports in order to be able to access the job market and find those employment opportunities.
And do you have any numbers? I mean, how many women, say, in the GTA are affected by this?
So last year, because of I'm going to talk more about the breadth of our services. So when you consider what we're trying to do is to help newcomer women and racialized women and others who are looking for supports, we're trying to help them with their employment, their settlement, and their language needs, and being able to make that transition to where they need to be next, which is, or where they are in the continuum of their settlement and careers in Canada. And so last year, we saw in total probably about 100,000 clients access our services either virtually or in person through our doors, and 52,000 of those were women. And I'll give you a figure that we're estimating that it's between around 65% were newcomer and racialized women accessing our services. So the need is there. The need is definitely there.
Is it language or cultural differences that stand in the way?
You know what? I'm going to say, Bala, it's all those things, and you've really hit upon them. Like, depending on where our newcomer women or racialized women are in their what I'll call their career and settlement journey. Sometimes it is language training that they have not been able to access during the pandemic due to child minding or just availability. And so now they're venturing out looking for those specific classes to meet their needs that may also have child minding services available. For some women, it's the fact that they may be facing mental health issues, that adversity in accessing jobs that are commensurate with their skills. We have many women who come to us as skilled newcomers, but because they have during the pandemic and even just while they were settling here in Canada, more often than not, it's in a partnership. It's the woman of the household who's at home settling in with the kids and making sure that their needs are met first. So in some cases, it can be outdated skills or experiences that they've not been able to utilize since they left their home country.
And do you help these women sort of get recognition of the educational credentials which they have back home?
Absolutely. We have, depending on what the needs of the particular needs of the woman are, we're documents, we have services to help them with that. The accreditation process, our staff are incredibly knowledgeable about the steps that are necessary depending on the occupation. We even have a low interest loan program that's been funded by the government that actually helps with credential assessment and people getting their accreditation here in Canada. And I think, you know, Bella, one of the things that I really pride our organization on is that we ask the question, how can I help you? And where are you? And we do a needs assessment with the women who come into our services and others to find out where they are in their journey. Some people have, you know, they may already have Canadian work experience, but maybe it's not in the field of their choice. So what we help them to build are the steps that are necessary in order for them to get into the career choice that they're looking for.
Yeah, tell us something about this new women's pillar project that you have that's going to target, I think, 50,000 women.
Yes, no, we're really quite excited about this. And you know, Bella, I don't want to leave people with the impression that we haven't been servicing women and all these years that we've been in business for over 30 years. But this was a much more intentional focus for us to launch a women's pillar so that women can find the services that they need more directly and understand that they are tailored to meet their needs. So not only are we trying to help them make those connections through the programs and services that we're offering, but we're trying to ensure that women have the wraparound supports that they need in order to remove barriers that are preventing them from making meaningful connections into the workforce and finding the jobs that they're looking for. So we have a collection of programs and services that are funded by the federal, the provincial, and municipal governments to help women to settle and to integrate into good jobs that will assist them. So depending on what the women's needs are, or where they are currently, maybe they're a skilled newcomer looking for a program that's going to help them to transition into their career choice, you know, why they came to Canada to work in their skilled field. We help them to do that. We have other programs that help women who may not have a post-secondary education, who are newcomer women or racialized, and they're looking for that stepping stone to help them get into a career or to get started. Like, for example, we have a program that helps women to access entry-level positions in senior care, which is also meeting the needs, of course, of employers in our community.
But is it discriminatory? I mean, do you keep out men from these projects?
Not at all. You know, we're a multi-service agency that sees our entire community are our clients. But what we found that by putting this pillar in place for women in particular, they're going to find it easier to navigate the services that have been procured directly for them and to help us pursue other ones. But you know, you touch on we have employment services, settlement services, language services, and we're open to everybody accessing those services. And certainly all are welcome. You know, employers are our client as well, so we do help employers to find the talent that they're looking for in order to meet their business needs.
I mean, did you find that, say, immigrant men and men of color fare better than women in Canada?
You know, it's funny that you're asking me that question. We were sitting in a strategic session this morning and looking at what the success rates have been for immigrant women and men, and immigrant men are faring better in the workforce at this time. And I think that having more intentional programming like what we've done under our women's pillar will help to balance that for both women and men. Because I mean, it's all about thriving in one's community, isn't it? And raising a family and finding meaningful work and hopefully a better life where individuals feel connected to their communities and are thriving.
I'm just wondering, why do some immigrant men and women succeed on their own without any help from the government or any other settlement services? I mean, is there inner drive that take them along, and some fall behind?
You know, it's interesting. I think it's sometimes I wonder, Bala, if it is people's ability to find the information that they're looking for. There are some people that are just more naturally self-directed, but it can be very confusing when people are moving to a new country, trying to understand their community, trying to navigate the different levels of different aspects of working in Canada and how to connect to employers. Some people do a lot of research prior to coming to Canada, or they may already have some natural supports in place. Maybe it's family or friends or others who have gone before them, who've been able to advise them. But what we find is it's important to meet clients, and whether it's women or men or youth or employers, to meet them where they are and to understand what their current needs are. It's not everybody does the same pathway. Not everybody has to go to language training, or everybody has to get their credentials assessed, or needs to do a survival job. It depends on where they are in the continuum. And I guess what I'm really proud that Achēv does is that we're able to meet people where they are and then help them, so that you don't want to, Bala, can you imagine how frustrating it is for somebody who has had their resume critiqued and set, they understand how to interview, and to force them to do a resume workshop or something like that again. That's not what we're about. We're about let's find the right service at the right time for you, that's delivered in the way that makes the most sense.
There are a lot more facilities available now. I remember when we came about, I think 26 years ago to Canada, there were hardly any government facilities or any such settlement services available at that time. But now I think there's plenty of these services. So I think it's easier.
Yeah, I agree, Bala. And and you think about, I think that if you had a magic wand, right, and you could say, would you have preferred that there was more assistance available?
Yes,
Absolutely, you would. But again, doesn't it just speak to the drive that so many of our newcomers come to Canada with, the drive to succeed and to make an important life and to thrive in the communities that they're operating in? There's a way to do it, right? There's a will and a motivation to do it. And really, what we're doing at Achēv is trying to help people to get there faster if we can. And if we can, if by referring to a program or helping with information or referral to appropriate services will get somebody there faster, that's the role that we want to play in the community, because newcomers are the backbone of success for Canada moving forward. We're in a historic labor shortage. I'm excited to see the latest news about immigration numbers and what the government of Canada is going to be doing.
1,000 a year, yeah.
Absolutely. That's what's going to be needed in order for everyone to thrive in our communities. And I'm just glad that Achēv is here. We're here now, Bala, to offer that kind of support and service where unfortunately you didn't have that when you first arrived in Canada.
I'm just wondering, I mean, it's not politically very correct, but are there some specific nationalities that need more attention?
You know what? I don't think that that anybody needs more attention than anybody else. I will though talk about certainly people who come under a refugee class into Canada. They can sometimes face much more complex barriers than somebody maybe who's under the provincial nominee program, as an example. When you think about the extra complexities that they may face, now you're, not that housing isn't an issue, but for everyone. But when you think about, they could have previous traumas that they may be dealing with, mental health, it can be a whole package of, when you talk about isolationism and even just coming without any documents because they've not been able to secure those because they're coming from a country that's at war right now. So I'm not going to say one nationality over another, but I will say that, sometimes we need to ensure that we're providing the wraparound supports for those that are facing the greatest barriers.
Language is very important here, isn't it? That's
yes.
In Canada.
Yeah, it is. It can be, I think that what we find with many of the newcomers that we're assisting, that first they need to, you need to find a place to live, of course, and get your kids into school. But then it's language and employment. Those are the most important factors that come to play. Your ability to be able to communicate effectively is what helps you to connect to your community, helps you to find a job. for parents to communicate to their children's teachers in school, your neighbors. I can't even imagine. It's such a key element for success is to be able to successfully communicate and let your needs be known and make sure your needs are met, and that you're able to effectively communicate.
And what should Canadian businesses do to help?
I think that there are many things that Canadian businesses can do. One would be, I'm on a bit of a crusade, Bala, that I think that employers need to be more open to considering the experiences that people come with, and not perhaps look that it has to have been at a Canadian company. There is so much value, so much transferable skills and experience that our skilled newcomers come to Canada with. And I think that employers are looking for the perfect solution if they can get it. I would love to have, these set of technical skills, and if they could come with 10 years of experience, that would be terrific. But I think that, part of the role that we're playing at Achēv is to work with employers to go from a strengths-based look at the potential employees that we're working with, and to say, they've got the aptitude and the skill sets that you're looking for. Perhaps you don't need to have the 10 years of experience, but you can look at the value that they are bringing with the skills that they do have. Don't look at the name of the company where they worked. Look at the skills and the solutions, the problems that they can solve for you as an employer.
What you say is true, but like as you say, there are gatekeepers. There are these trade bodies and organizations, associations who don't allow, unions also, who don't
Right.
allow people to get in. So how do you solve that problem?
I think, Bala, we need to do it one person at a time, but I think the opportunity is ripe right now. We are in a historic labor shortage. Employers need to listen, and because they don't have enough people or the skills to successfully run their business. So I think it's important for individuals like yourself and organizations like Achēv to voice those needs of not just our needs of clients, but to promote what value there is that clients are coming with. And I agree with you that employers do need to be more open, but I think nothing creates solutions like necessity. And I think that right now it's necessary in a very competitive landscape for labor, that employers are in a position now where I think they have to listen, and so that they need to find these solutions.
Is the government, both the federal and the provincial government, helping you with these services?
Yes, they are. Actually, we have many different programs and services that are funded by the federal government, whether it's IRCC or ESDC, and also certainly the provincial government with MLI-TSD. Oh my goodness, listen to all the letters that I'm telling you, Bala. But anyway, the provincial and the federal ministries are definitely supporting the services that are necessary to help newcomers and racialized women and others to thrive and to find work and to settle into their communities.
And are you collaborating with other community organizations to advance?
Absolutely. Yeah, we do, Bala. I think that one of the things that we've learned is you can't be everything to everyone, and that there are, especially for the wraparound supports that are needed in order for people to thrive. We partner with a lot of employers, with a lot of other community service organizations. I think at last count, we have 50 formalized partnership agreements with other service provider organizations across the GTA.
And do you have a physical office where the clients come in?
Yes, we do. We actually have 9 different locations. So people can go onto our website at Achēv, ACHEV.ca, and they can click on our locations. But we're located in Peel region, in Toronto, in Durham. And of course, we have a lot of virtual services as well, Bala, that people can access. So it doesn't matter where you're located, you'd be able to access the services.
Oh, it's very interesting. Anyway. So thank you, Moya. You have given us quite an insight into what Achēv is doing, and it's doing some very wonderful work. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Bala. And I'm so glad that, thank you so much for highlighting it for us, because I think, we want to ensure that people do access our services and get the assistance that they need in order for them to thrive.
Thanks a lot, Moya, again. And we have been listening to Moya MacKinnon of Achēv, which now provides dedicated services for women of color and new immigrant women. Thank you, Moya, for appearing on our show.
Thank you so much for your time today, Bala. Pleasure to speak.